Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kaustubha. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from beautiful Mexico, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha, who's live in Colombia. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the Srimad Bhagavatam. Welcome to Thursday's Srimad Bhagavatam study, how to apply the Bhagavatam to your life. I'm here in beautiful Mexico with Cindy Lunsford and a whole gang of people from all over the Midwest and Pittsburgh. I don't know if Pittsburgh's the Midwest, and other interesting places. And we're doing the Mexico Bhagavatam cenotes. I went to an incredible shaman yesterday. This guy was a mystic, full blown. If you just saw his outfit,
I'm sure he was.
You just saw his outfit. You're like, they had like,
that's all it takes.
They had like 5 masseuse people come up. I do, this type of massage. I do this type of massage. Then this guy walked in. I can't even explain his outfit. It had embroidered parrots, white, long hanging sleeves, colorful pants, and a hat with thousands of feathers on it. And I said, whatever he's offering, sign me up for this guy. This guy was a magic man. I kid you not. I'll tell you the story later. How are you in Colombia? How's Colombia?
Colombia's beautiful. Happy here.
Eating your papayas?
I've been having papaya every morning.
Me too. It's a great way.
All right.
All right. So I think I can hear each other. I've been, had some little realization lately because I think that I'm a couple days there. I went through like a sawed-off shotgun of hate getting directed at me on the internet. I don't know if you've caught on with that. It's one of those horrible internet.
I'm aware.
You're aware, yeah. It's one of those horrible internet things that can really unless you have like a huge suit of armor, it can like tear up your heart. It's just like both in a gross way affect your mind, in a subtle way, like affect your subtle body. And I want to just give props to the Srimad Bhagavatam. And, it's what the Bhagavatam teaches. That wisdom of the sages is not my wisdom. It's the wisdom of ancient sages passed down, trickling down like a waterfall for millennia and ending up on a very unqualified person's lap to try to put it to work for me in a modern contemporary world. And it works. It actually works. It's like, so here's my simple list of how to stay steady in a sawed-off shotgun of hate. And sometimes we all experience that in one way or another. That there's people who just are trying to take us down or hurt us, and it says a lot about really what they're going through in their life. But here's how I dealt with it. Applying the Bhagavatam. The first simple one was, don't let hate make you hate. It's really simple to want to dig in your heels and say, hey, that's so unfair. Hey, that was a misunderstanding. Hey, how dare you extrapolate that from what I said? It gets you so defensive. And then, of course, because there's so much love invested in that person, you feel betrayed as well. And then you want to go
invested in the person that's throwing the hate at you now.
Yeah. Yeah, that was like the thing, the most hurtful thing. But I tell you, it really never got to that, because, the 6 pillars of see the good in people, I didn't let resentment, revenge, or spite enter my heart. I refused to let it, because we talk about this so much every day on the show, we talk about these things. These are common, wisdom of the sages speak. We talk about this stuff: revenge, resentment, spite. Once the mind goes to those dark places, I know I'm spiritually off my tracks. And so when I do go there, and I'll call it by nature, it's not my nature, it's what I've nurtured for lifetimes. Resentment, right? Resentment, spite, and revenge. Those have been cultivated. Those have been practiced. In the same way Cindy Lunsford does a handstand. Go, do a handstand. So, boop, do a handstand. It's been a practice. It's not something she just came out of the womb doing. In that same way, I've been practicing resentment, revenge, and spite when people hurt my ego. And so the Bhagavatam says, no, that's over. That skin needs to be shed. And so just hearing it every day from all of you guys, and hearing it from the sages and the pages, it's so beautiful that so many red flags, so many fireworks go off when my mind starts to go there. So I wouldn't allow it to happen. And then of course we have this thing where we're also training ourselves.
Can you repeat?
Yeah.
Can you repeat the second one again? The first one was don't let the hate make you hate.
Don't let hate make you hate.
The second one was? That was the first one. What's the second one?
Resentment, revenge, and spite. Don't let resentment, revenge, and spite enter the heart.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Revenge and spite. You know what you're saying? What you're sharing, Raghunath?
Yeah.
It's such a great example of, like, we call this Wisdom of the Sages a daily yoga podcast. And like you often mention, we're not talking about doing, asana here so much. So why is it a yoga podcast? The yoga, like in the Yoga Sutras, Patanjali writes, he gives a definition of the word practice. And he says that when you do something with the right devotion or dedication, and you do it for, over a long period of time, and what's the other one? And you do it with, you do it without break, like you do it, steadily. Then that practice becomes firmly rooted, firmly rooted. And I really, I'm seeing what you're going through, which is actually, most people never have to go through quite the way that you're going through it, where like publicly you get people trying to tear you down,
like
trying to stir people up that don't even know you, and the whole world's such a toxic atmosphere right now, where in any case, all that being said, because you're hearing Bhagavatam with the right dedication and devotion, and over a course of a long time, and uninterrupted daily, right? Because it's exactly what you're saying. We have to hear this, and we have to repeat it, and we have to meditate on it, and we have to reflect on it day by day. Otherwise, it doesn't take firm root.
Right.
But if you keep steady at it, and you keep contemplating, you keep sharing it, you keep engaging back and forth, in a sangha, it becomes. And then when you face that challenge, it's so firmly rooted that you can pass through it without being dragged down by it. When I say I mean being dragged down into a lower state of consciousness, to even the point where the person that's throwing that hate at you, you don't even feel hate for them. And now we know that we're really getting somewhere.
It's what it works. It really works.
Really sinking in.
Just like there's parameters for things we want to eat, oh, does this have gluten in it? Or is this made with refined sugars? Or there's parameters in so many things that we do as we refine our life, our diet, our health. There's parameters in the way we think now. And it's incredibly powerful in such an extreme situation that I'm in right now. It's incredibly relevant. And so another thing is we're not only not going to that resentment, revenge, and spite, but we're going right to the good. And we're training ourselves to extend some grace towards people we don't even know. Sometimes we don't even know a person. We just extend that grace, like, what is their good? What is the good in this person? And not only that, then we take that up a notch and we train ourselves to see how can there be good in a person who's actually doing bad. And so we extend it to that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can extend it. In this case, it was like, how can you see good in a person that hates your guts or is trying to like create? And it is just, I tell you, people are reaching out to me in a sweet way. Hey man, this is so horrible. I don't want to get involved in that toxic stuff. I don't, because it is toxic. If you hear hate, it makes you sad, deeply saddened. And so, and they say like, how are you doing? And I go, truthfully, I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. It's almost like I'm in a personal science experiment. And I tell you, Kaustubha, this was the biggest breakthrough I had yesterday. And I just want to share it with you in person was, I woke up from a dream, my last dream of the night. And it was so, ever have a feeling in a dream, like a dream that was like scary, you feel scared, you wake up scared, or a dream that where you're wealthy and you wake up, whoa, I'm wealthy. I had, or a dream. Mara's like, no, I don't have those dreams. I woke up in love. I kid you not, I'm not exaggerating.
Hold it. This sounds like you woke up in love this morning.
I woke up in love this. That's a song, right?
No, Partridge Family.
This person. Oh yeah, that's Partridge Family. No, this person who is saying stuff about me.
Throwing the hate out. Yeah.
I actually love this person. I deeply love this person.
Right.
There was miscommunication with this person, and I just love him. And I woke up. In my mind, we were just embracing and crying. And it was the most, and when I woke up and I just like woke up from that, I go, I have no animosity whatsoever. And I tell you, my pain in my life is only caused by my mind in animosity, in fear, in resentment, in revenge, in spite. That's where my pain is. I hurt my ankle yesterday.
That's right.
And I hurt my ankle. My pain's not in my ankle, actually. It's a little bit of pain in my ankle. It's in fear or worry. Now I can't do yoga today. I can't do Cindy's HIIT workout, which she's making me do. I can't. Our
you get into the turbo scenarios.
Yeah, turbo
scenarios in the mind.
Spinning out of control in the mind. And this Bhagavatam is so powerful. It doesn't allow you to cross that line mentally. And it protects the mind and keeps the mind placid. Now you hear these stories about great souls who go through hell. I feel like God has given me a glimpse, a little taste of what it's like to be a liberated soul, just to keep me going on this path. You know what I mean? Like you see a movie trailer, like this is the movie. If you like it, watch the whole thing. Like you like this? This is what it's like. You can get a glimpse of that peace, even in the midst of the biggest hell. I really feel this stuff works. It's working.
When this whole thing blew up and I saw that you were going through all that, and my immediate reaction was, you look at the life history of any of the great saints in any of the spiritual traditions.
Now Kaustubha is going to compare me to the great saints. Ready, Mara?
I am. Because part of what they go through is that their reputation gets attacked by people. People come out against them and they start to make up things about them that aren't true. I'm not saying that the people that are saying things like that don't believe that it's true, but it's not true. And to anyone that knows knows what they're saying has zero validity whatsoever. But it's it's the saintly people, they always pass through these tests that their reputation is being attacked, and we always see, how do they respond? They don't respond defensively. They just tolerate it and they go on, and in the end that becomes part of their glory. It also becomes, like, for instance, what you're going through right now. You look to the examples of the great saints, to the Haridas Thakurs, to the Jesuses, and to the the people that went, and you say, let me behave like them. I'm not I'm not worthy of being their follower if I can't actually follow, actually follow that, like tolerate, respond, don't feel any hate, even feel love for the one that's throwing that at me. And I think it's beautiful the way that you're responding. And I think you're going through a point in your life where you're being put through a lot of challenges. And I know you as my close, dear friend, brother, that I know that the challenges that you're facing in your life right now, that you're gonna, because you're embracing the message of the Bhagavatam so tightly and living it, that you come out the other side of these things, happier and able to share more than you ever were before, to be that real inner desire of yours to be an instrument of the will of good and the will of God. I can see you just becoming more and more empowered with that, and so I share my respect for you, Raghunath. I really do. My love for you and my respect for how you're dealing with the many challenges that you're going through in life. Props to you, Raghu.
Thanks,
I'm
Prabhu.
here for you all the way.
Thank you, Prabhu. I appreciate that so much. Let me share these two other things I got.
I mean
from
it.
the
I mean every word of that.
I agree. I know you do, Prabhu. You're so sincere. And if people like you, if people like you, I'm in good graces with people like you, I feel good about my life. We're not always going to see an honest reflection of who we are in the general public, because they're seeing with different lens. So I have friends and teachers that I think have a lot of integrity, and if they correct me, if you were to say, Raghu, you are off track, dude, I would take that seriously. And I keep people like you close like that as an honest mirror to tell me, and I invite that in my life from you. All right, so check this out. There's two more that I want to share with you. Another thing the Bhagavatam does. Okay. There's more, but wait, there's more. If you act now, you get two more insights from the Bhagavatam. All right, the first one is, we've been studying Lord Vishnu's lifetime, and his exhales create universes, and then he impregnates with himself again, and then right, you know where I'm going with this, and then
you're going to zoom
Brahma
out
comes. Yeah. And Brahma a day of Brahma is millions of years. And this whole concept of time, I was like, a little hiccup in my life, I'm going to get worried about. My life is eternal, man. Right. Zoom the hell out. This is a moment in time that in a moment from now, we'll look back and go, it's a moment. Well, step back, zoom way out.
I'll say this, Raghu, is that when this whole thing blew up, and then I saw it, I was like, oh man, it's just sad, and it's and really, I know for you, because you're going through so much in your life right now, it's like, why, it's such a shame that you have to go through this right now. And I texted you, and I said, sorry, I hope you're doing all right, and so on, and you texted back, you said, yeah, it's miserable, but. And then you said just a zoom out phrase, like you said something like, but you know what? Time goes by so fast, and in 20 years, I'm not going to remember any of this, and there's no time to get caught up in this kind of thing. And I said, as soon as I saw that, I said, he's on this, right? He's not letting it tear him down. He's not letting it affect his own God consciousness, right? Because it's when you get, just like you said, when you get into that resentment and revenge and spite, what that does is it prevents you from practicing your own spirituality. And I said, he's not allowing that to happen. He's above it. He's risen above it. I was very impressed. Zoom out. Love it.
All credit to the Bhagavatam and the Sangha. Thank you, everybody here. Thank you. You got a whole very cool son. I'm going to give shout out to Cindy Lunsford again. She's like inspiring a lot of people. It's incredible. The more I talk to people, you're like, yep, Cindy. I'm serious, Cindy. I really appreciation. Doyal and Rasika are here too. These guys are bright lights in my life. Love these guys. Yep. And the last one, Prabhu, is, and this is another interesting thing. Yeah. Number 4 is, we've got karma to burn. Like, whatever I get, I probably deserve much worse, because we've got karma from lifetimes that are going to manifest. Just like if you throw some seeds in the spring, and then all of a sudden things start to sprout up. We have seeds within our heart, this aparabdha karma, that is just going to manifest sometime when we least expect it. And it's not like it was randomly put there. We planted it. I planted the damn seed. And so we have some karma that we have to deal with. And I'm responsible for that. And you got to deal with some result of that. And the masters say that when you're practicing bhakti, of course you get some karma. It's like when you unplug a fan, the fan's still going to spin for a while because you've done past karma, even though maybe you're going full in pure devotional service. Even if we are all acting in pure devotional service, you're still getting some residual karma, but the karma doesn't affect you in the same way anymore. Now you just see it that, oh, that's a blessing. That's a blessing to purify me. And that's part of the thing. We have some karma to burn. And then we just see that karma as, how is this going to refine me, this karma? And sure enough, I called Drew Lawrence, and the guy is so insightful, man. It's like, yeah, of course you are. You got the K2 running right into your thing. He just told me the science behind it, what was going on. He told me exactly when it's going to end. He goes, it's going to end momentarily. Don't worry. It's just like a conjunction of planets. You don't see that? But those planets
what did the shaman have? Did you ask the shaman about it?
I'm not going to even say online what the shaman said. Shaman zoomed right, said nothing. He just said one thing, and I'm not going to tell you what it is right now. I don't want to say it live, but the shaman knew everything. But I'll tell you the positive thing the shaman said. He said, know what you're giving in this life, and don't let anybody stop you, and move straight ahead. That was
love it.
I was like, what? You shaman? I cannot believe that. He said nothing else because other people he's saying tons of things to. He goes, I only have one thing to use for you. He goes, move straight ahead with exactly what you're doing. Don't let anybody stop you from what you're doing. And then he said, because of what's going on in your life right now, you have some residual toxins. Because when people speak ill, he said this. I didn't prep him. I didn't even know what I was getting into. And he just said, because of people are speaking ill.
What did you say to him? Did you say anything?
I said nothing.
Like you said,
I said, I'm here.
He just came out with
do whatever. I didn't even know if it was going to be hands on, hands off. All he did was take these tools out of his hat. I kid you not. He had a hat filled with tools. And the tools were almost like peace pipes with feathers. And he would just dash Parmananda would have loved this. He would slap me with these feathers and then blow and do a little spit sucking and blow. And then with the tool, and he'd suck stuff out of me. And then he'd spit in his hand and clean his hands and then feather me more. I said nothing the entire time. He had me flip over, sit over, stand up, sit down. Anyway, to make a long story short, he just said, there's a lot of ill will towards you. Ignore it all. It'll go away momentarily. Go forward with exactly what you're doing. He said there's been some residual toxins because when people speak ill, you take it and it hurts you. And you've created some toxin because of your lack of belief in yourself. And he said, believe in yourself and move forward. The guy didn't speak a word of English. This was done through a translator. He didn't know me from Adam. He didn't know my situation. And he just said that. He goes, that's all I have to say to you. And he walked out.
Whoa.
He dropped the feather. I'm out.
That's incredible. Well, you got to get him on the show. Get him for Sunday, okay?
Oh, man. He disappeared. The shaman disappeared. He's not coming back. He left town. Yeah, I'm serious. This guy came in from the hills.
Okay.
But anyway, it was a great experience.
So we got 4
it really
right?
reconfirmed. And then Drew Lawrence got me the phone and just said the karmic thing. But yeah, we got some karma to burn. And when you see the good in people, you also see people's hurt and their pain and their backstory. And all you can do is feel compassion. It's how to love people that don't love you. And it's a huge, huge lesson for me.
We all need to go through this. We on one level or another, we probably all of us on one level or another need to go through something like this or many things like this to that point where as we get older, as we get to the end of the life, we have a heart that has absolutely zero animosity towards anyone, that we're more humble than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree, offering respects to every single living being, even those that are throwing hate at us, not concerned at all that we're not getting respect or anything for anyone. In that state of mind, we will be able to chant that holy name and 100% connect with sweet baby Krishna and break this cycle of birth and death. You know, that is what it's all about. You're living Bhagavatam. I love it. Thank you, Raghunath.
It's been a real.
And thank you to the shaman.
Thank you to that shaman. Thank you to Drew Lawrence. Thank you to everybody here. It's been, I tell you, being with all these people here, it's like Krishna miracles are just popping up on a regular basis. You guys feel like that? I'm having like a lot of like these Krishna miracles. Can I tell one more Krishna miracle
really.
and I'm out? Ready? I was so Cindy and I stayed back and just wrote yesterday, and Cindy took my daughter and Doyal and Rasika and Christia and a few others, and they went to these beautiful, gorgeous cenotes. A 2-hour trip, they said. A 2-hour trip with my daughter in Mexico alone. Have fun. Go crazy. You're 16. You're a big girl. Now go out there. Enjoy the world with other adults. So 2 hours went by, 2.5 hours. No one's back. Whatever. They're probably having a great time. Everything's good. 3 hours, 3.5 hours go by. I run into some other people. Hey, Raghu, are you going to Cindy's yoga class? I was like, I don't think she's back yet. It's been 3.5 hours. I was like, no problem. They're probably having a good time. Everything's great. 4 hours go by. 4 hours are gone. No one's back. Should we be worried? No, let's not be worried. Let's just think of the good. Let's be positive. PMA. 5.5 hours go by.
See what he has to say.
Here it comes. MS-13 has kidnapped my daughter. Human trafficking has come. Someone dove in a cenote and broke their neck. They're at some hospital in Mexico. How are they their phones don't work. They've all been kidnapped. It's just thousands of like thoughts have gone through my mind. So I sat down. I said, okay, I'm going to pray to Lord Nrsingadev. Nrsingadev, please. And I tell you, as soon as I got on the Nrsingadev phone, they all walked in the door.
They walked through the door.
It's a Krishna miracle.
Okay.
I think Krishna wants us
time.
to just be dependent. When we get our hands like this, Krishna says, "Are you dependent? Have you forgotten?"
Like I said yesterday when Radha Swami said those words to me, I said to him, "I think Krishna saved you," and he said, "He always does. He always does.
He always does."
And I think when you get to that point in life, it doesn't matter what's getting thrown at you. You can be in the mouth of the serpent, and Krishna's always going to save us.
Yeah. Krishna is powerful stuff here. This is powerful stuff. And it's like an electric wire. When an electric wire goes down after a storm, you touch that wire, you're electric. You touch somebody else, they're electric. This is what's going on with the Bhagavatam. And that's why even if you hear a little bit of it, you could take it out to the streets and say, hey, what do you think of this? The soul is eternal, that God is one. We're all connected spiritually. There's a bigger circle around it. We're all connected individually. Different religions or different paths to the same thing. The soul is eternal. The body's temperate. You can use that as like a sounding board for any other philosophy you hear, and it holds up. It really holds up. It works. It's the answer. This Gita, this Bhagavatam is the answer for all our material problems. We're trying to solve dreamlike problems with dreamlike solutions. It's not going to work. You got to go right to reality. Reality is the Gita. It's not dodging reality. It is reality. Life here in this incarnation is temporary. I'm a spiritual being. I have to reconnect with what I am to find my joy. The joy is right here. I need not go anywhere else. The joy is right here. And I've been thinking joy is out there. Joy is here. Joy is this. No, I'm already connected. I just forgot. Yoga is the remembering of who I am. Good night, everyone.
We're Karma to Burn from Scranton, Pennsylvania.
That was a band, actually. They were from West Virginia. Karma.
I thought that was a band. I was going to ask you. Was that a? They were. It was. That was. It's a great name.
They were on. It's a great name. I thought this. Yeah. Okay.
You know,
We're in a new
all that
chapter.
you're saying, all that I just no, before we go there, just a last thing I just want to share because you're inspiring me. But everything that you're saying, it helps me understand. You know, it helps me better understand when, if we go back to the first canto, right? Go back to the 8th chapter of the first canto, prayers of Queen Kunti. And she manages to say this prayer that's like terrifying to everyone, right? Like,
Yeah,
do
the
I have
most
to become that
terrifying
where she
prayer.
prays? We know all the hardships that she went through in life, right? All of the horrible struggles that she went through life.
Yeah,
And she prays to Krishna. She stands before Krishna, you know, and with complete sincerity, she says, "Dear Lord, let all those I wish that all those calamities would happen again and again, because so that I could see you again and again. For seeing you means that we will no longer see repeated births and deaths." Right? If you know you train yourself through hearing Bhagavatam to deal with the difficult times in life. And then when you can do that, then you can deal with them and they don't scare you anymore, because you realize that as you go through them, it's bringing you closer and closer to God. You see God, you take shelter of God. God becomes prominent in your mind and in your consciousness, in your memory. And you're like, at that point, it doesn't matter what's happening externally, because what's happening internally is so powerful.
And you get this
Queen Kunti.
deep realization that nothing can hurt you. Nothing can hurt you unless I just
We
allow it
gotta
to
get
hurt
there.
me.
Like you and I, like I said, you know, you and I, we're 55 years old. We're on the home stretch to eternity, right? We've got to
We're on
learn
the
these
home
lessons
stretch.
now.
Eternity.
Who is that? Like Def Leppard or something?
I don't
Who are
know.
you
I
trying
just
to
made.
mimic?
I thought it was. I just made it up. It's just a
Okay.
good song title.
But it's a fact. You know, it's like I almost feel like 30 years I've been practicing this. I've been learning it. I've been teaching it to some degree. But how deeply do I embody it? How deeply do I realize it? You know, we got to get serious about it. We got to learn these things down. I think Krishna's sending you these things to deepen your realization on these points, and I think you're responding, you know, in a way that exactly that is happening.
Thanks, Prabhu.
Kudos.
Thanks. I appreciate
Kudos.
everybody here. I appreciate this whole Sangha. The Sangha lifts us up. The community lifts us up. It makes us want to raise the bar. Not any community. This particular community makes me want to raise the bar. There's a lot of times where I don't want accountability in my life. And I can't, because I got to show up and do the Bhagavatam, where Mara will be like, "Raghu, did you forget about this?" I said, "Sweet baby Krishna." I get these text messages from Mara. "Raghu, sweet baby Krishna, remember?" You know, and it's one of these things, like, I need that accountability. We all want accountability in our life if we're trying to hold ourselves to a particular standard, you know, and we need friends and people, community, teachers who will do that for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So we have a new chapter today, chapter 17, the victory of Hiraṇyākṣa over all the directions of the universe. It sounds so galactic.
It is galactic. It's
Battlestar
intergalactic.
Galactica.
Yeah.
Narayanam.
You know, so, oh, go ahead. Yeah, hit it.
Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayet. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan. Unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshva badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes of the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Tamarandasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chaksurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respect to their lotus feet.
You know what I just thought of, Raghunath?
What, Prabhu?
I just thought, you know, there was one, I don't, we could look this up, do a little research, but there was one time where Srila Prabhupada was speaking to his disciples.
Mm-hmm.
And he made this statement. He said, before any of us can I forget exactly what, return back to God or transcend, this world or whatever, but like, achieve that final achievement of Krishna Prema.
Mm.
He said, we will all be severely tested. He said that. We'll all be severely tested. And when people that were there and heard him say, they're like, oh my God. It's like, isn't there an
Scary,
easier
isn't
way? Yeah, and you picture, what am I going to go through? Like, I'm going to get tortured? What's going to happen, But it's a fact that this world does torture us in different ways. But the point is that when you have the Bhagavatam, what is it? Again, one of my favorite verses from the Gita, the first words escaping me. So much chata sarva durgani, mud prasada tarisyasi, that if you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles in life by my grace, right? By my grace. And if you don't become conscious of me, then and act according to false ego, you will be lost, And it's just really what it's all about. We will be severely tested, but when we embrace and imbibe and live and remember the teachings that we find in Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, we cross over them. Even though it is a severe test, we cross over them not being troubled by it, not being tortured by it. We pass over by the grace of Krishna. And it's a beautiful thing to see someone living it.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, so we're in a good place here. We're in the new chapter, chapter 17. Let's dive in. Ready? Sri Maitreya.
So let's have a little let's have a little bit of context, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
And that is that we spoke yesterday about how what's appearing here, this Varaha Deva, Lord Boar, Krishna appearing in this unusual, form as a boar, is a category of avatara, a category, Krishna descends in many categories of ways and many different varieties within those categories. And this, I believe, is maybe the first Leela avatar. Oh, no, maybe not. But in any case, it's one of the early Leela avatars. Leela avatar means play, right? It's an avatar that's come to play. And so we see that that his own devotees, who are the gatekeepers of Vaikuntha, Jai and Vijay, they were cursed. Lord Vishnu accepted that curse because those are the people he's going to play with. The question was asked by Todd Harris, but if he knows that he's going to win, is it really fun? Well, he forgets. By his own potency, he becomes fully absorbed in the play, right? He becomes deeply absorbed in it. And so, I was just thinking this morning, I was thinking about this Leela, it's like, sounds bizarre. And as we read it, it's far out, he's fighting as a boar, he's got tusks, he's fighting this big demon, they're battling it out, the demigods are watching, everything's hanging there,
Sounds crazy.
And
like you can dream this one up.
What he's doing, yeah. And as we read it, think of it like a film. Think of it like how like in a film the scene is set, how like an expert screenwriter can gradually bring in all the elements to heighten the intensity of the emotions that are experienced in it. But what's happening here is that he's appearing to save someone. Who's he appearing to save? Here he's appearing to save the demigods, right? The devas. We need you, and he appears to save them. Later on, as we get further into the Bhagavatam, we're going to hear about how he appears not to save the devas, but to save his devotee Prahlad. And then he'll appear as another Leela avatars, as Nrsingadev, half man, half lion. A more beautiful form, but very ferocious, right? Why are we hearing about these Leela avatars? Because eventually we're going to hear about the ultimate Leela avatar, that's Sri Krishna himself, where he comes in his own form, not in a boar form, not in a half man, half lion form. But when we get to read about Krishna, he comes in his own form, that of like an impossibly beautiful young man and sweet baby sometimes. And when we get to that and we see how he's stepping up, now he's not stepping up to save the demigods. He's not stepping up to save his one devotee Prahlad. He's stepping up to save like the gopis of Vrindavan, the residents of Vrindavan, right? He's lifting the hill because Indra, who he's saving here is Lord Boar, right? Forgets who is that boy? Is that Lord Vishnu? It's not Lord Vishnu. That's just some boy stealing my thunder, right? you know, so when we get to the 10th canto and the Leela avatar of Krishna appears, we'll understand that that's not an ordinary boy, and that when he's running around with those girls or with his friends, that this is Vishnu himself, appearing, and all of the external circumstances that are created. The snake appears, big, huge, powerful snake appears, huge, massive bull, massive horse, all these different kind of demons appear, and he's stepping up to play. But in that play, that play is there to display for us the highest of all love, so that we can read about and see and in a sense witness the deepest, purest spiritual emotions that exist. And he displays that as a Leela avatar. So all of this is helping us, building us up to understand who is that boy Krishna, like that. What is the nature of the love that he has for his devotees and that his devotees have for him? All the cantos building up to the 10th canto are helping us be prepared to understand that when it comes up. All right?
All right. Let's dive in. Text 1. This is Maitreya. So Maitreya is having this conversation with Vidura. This is sage level something here.
Sage level...
Three. Something.
3.
When we talked about sage level, again, it's a story within a story. So this is one of the earlier stories within the story. So Maitreya is speaking. He's a elderly, wise man, and Vidura is on pilgrimage. And the demigods, the inhabitants of the higher planets, were freed from all fear upon hearing the cause of the darkness explained by Brahma, who is born from Vishnu. Thus, they all returned to their respective planets. The virtuous lady Diti had been very apprehensive of trouble to the gods from the children of her womb, and her husband predicted the same. She brought forth twin sons after a full 100 years of pregnancy. What?
Yeah, well, again, it's just...
You thought you had a hard pregnancy, ladies. I don't want any complaining. 100 years.
It's building the drama. All the details...
It's hard enough to have twins. What to speak of 100 years of twins. Sorry, go on. But
what we're going to start to hear about is a long list of omens, but those omens is like... It's just like in a film where it's like, oh my God, it's getting scarier, it's getting scarier, it's getting scarier. And then the hero steps out. Krishna's going to play that hero.
Yeah. That was another film my mother forbid me to watch, The Omen. The Omen and The Exorcist. My Catholic mother was like, nope, not in this house. You're not watching those. Okay. The virtuous lady Diti. I still haven't seen The Omen, by the way. The virtuous lady Diti had been very apprehensive of trouble to the gods from the children in her womb, and her husband predicted the same. She brought forth twin sons after a full 100 years of pregnancy. On the birth of the two demons, there were many natural disturbances, all very fearful and wonderful in the heavenly planets. When they say wonderful, they mean like a meteorite shower or something like that. The earthly, all these omens were being seen on the heavenly planets, the earthly planets, and in between them. There were earthquakes along with the mountains on earth, and it appeared that there was fire everywhere. Many inauspicious planets like Saturn appeared, along with comets, meteors, and thunderbolts. There blew winds, which were most uninviting to the touch, hissing again and again and uprooting gigantic trees. They had storms for their armies. And clouds of dust for their ensigns. The luminaries in the heavens were screened by masses of clouds in which lightning sometimes flashed as though laughing. Darkness reigned everywhere and nothing could be seen. The ocean with its high waves wailed aloud as if stricken with sorrow. And there was a commotion among the creatures inhabiting the ocean. The rivers and lakes were also agitated and lotuses withered. Misty halos appeared around the sun and the moon during the solar and lunar eclipses again and again. Claps of thunder were heard even without clouds, and sounds like those rattling their chariots emerged from mountain caves. In the interior of the villages, she-jackals yelled portentously, good word, vomiting strong fire from their mouths, and jackals and owls also joined them with their cries. Raising their necks, dogs cried here and there, now in the manner of singing and now of wailing. Ovadura, the asses, ran hither and thither in herds, striking the earth with their hard hooves and wildly braying. Frightened by the braying of the asses, birds flew shrieking from their nests, while cattle in the cowsheds, as well as in the woods, passed dung and urine. Cows, terrified, yielded blood in place of milk. Clouds rained pus. Really? The images of the gods in the temples shed tears. I've heard that to be true, actually. Have you ever heard that? The deities cry.
Let's not get into the Ganesh drinking milk. Let's just keep rolling.
Yeah, that was the thing too. Ganesh drinking milk, that was a huge thing about 8 years ago.
No, that wasn't 8 years ago. That was more like 28 years ago.
20 years, 20.
That's
Okay,
a long time ago.
it's one of those things.
It was in
Doesn't
the
seem like the
90s. It was
90s
in
were
the
like 10 years
mid-90s,
ago. Okay. Okay. Ominous planets such as Mars and Saturn. What's that? Text 14. Ominous planets such as Mars and Saturn shone brighter and surpassed the auspicious ones such as Mercury, Jupiter, and Venus, as well as a number of lunar mansions. Taking seemingly retrograde courses, the planets came in conflict with one another.
Marking the first mention of Mercury in retrograde, right?
Yeah, it's the original
Mercury
in retrograde. Marking these and many other omens of evil times, everyone but the four sage sons of Brahma, who were aware of the fall of Jai and Vijay and of their birth as deity sons, everyone was seized with fear. They did not know the secrets or the portents, good word, and thought that the dissolution of the universe was at hand. Got to appreciate the vocabulary.
You really like that word.
Portent, yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
These two demons who appeared in ancient times soon began to exhibit uncommon bodily features. They had steel-like frames, which began to grow, just like two great mountains. Their bodies became so tall that they seemed to kiss the sky with the crests of their gold crowns. They blocked the view of all directions, and while walking, shook the earth at every step. Their arms were adorned with brilliant bracelets, and they stood as if covering the sun with their waists, which were bound with excellent and beautiful girdles. Prajapati Kashyapa, the creator of the living entities, gave his twin sons their names. The one who was born first, he named Hiraṇyākṣa, excuse me, and the one who was first conceived by Diti, he named Hiranyakashipu. The elder child, Hiranyakashipu, was unafraid of death from anyone within the three worlds because he received a benediction from Lord Brahma. He was proud and puffed up due to this benediction and was able to bring all the three planetary systems under his control. Wow.
Okay.
His younger brother,
Hot seat. Slow down. Hot seat. For
okay.
You.
What you got?
So in text 18, it mentioned that Hiraṇyākṣa was born first. And in text 19, it says that the elder child was Hiranyakashipu. How's that?
Is it one, whatever the semen connected with the egg first? Is that it?
Nice.
I hate to get all biological on you.
Physical education classes. but in I don't know if it's just in India or yoga culture, but what in the Veda culture. but the child that's born, like for twins, the one that's born first is actually considered younger because the first one to come out was actually the second one conceived. Like the first one conceived.
Well, that's what I said.
It splits into two.
As a foolish, everyone laughed at me, but that's exactly what I was saying.
You didn't say anything. You just threw out a couple terms and you didn't explain anything.
All right, go ahead.
It wasn't at all exactly.
All right, that's an
what you
interesting.
said.
That's an interesting. That's a fun one. Cool.
Yeah,
Fun.
I just thought I'd throw that out. Okay.
I think
That's
that's
20.
Text 20. His younger brother, Hiraṇyākṣa, was always ready to satisfy his older brother by his activities. Hiraṇyākṣa took a club on his shoulder and traveled all over the universe with a fighting spirit just to satisfy Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyākṣa's temper was difficult to control. He had anklets of gold tinkling about his feet. He was adorned with gigantic garland, and he rested his huge mace on his brother's shoulder. His mental and bodily strength as well on his shoulders, one of his shoulders. His mental and bodily strength, as well as the boon conferred upon him, had made him proud. He feared death at the hands of no one, and there was no checking him. The gods, therefore, were seized with fear at his very sight, and they themselves hid themselves, even as snakes hide themselves in fear of Garuda. Okay, so the gods didn't even want to mess with these two. On not finding Indra and the other demigods, who had previously been intoxicated with power, the chief of the Daityas, the demon, seeing that they had all vanished before his might, roared loudly. He was getting a little proud. After returning from the heavenly kingdom, the mighty demon, who was like an elephant in wrath for the sake of sport, dived deep into the ocean, which was roaring terribly. On his entering the ocean, the aquatic animals who formed the host of Varuna were stricken with fear and ran far away. Thus, Hiranyākṣa showed his splendor without dealing a blow. So everybody's just scared. How much more do we have? We don't have much time here.
We're going to finish the chapter. Keep going.
All right.
We're good.
We have a yoga retreat going on.
5 more verses.
We have a
There's
a schedule.
This is yoga.
This is the yoga
yoga.
retreat. Because it was taking over the yoga retreat. Moving about in the ocean for many years, the mighty Hiranyākṣa smote, good word, the gigantic wind-tossed waves again and again with his iron mace and reached Vibhavari, the capital of Varuna. Vibhavari is the
get all in Varuna's face here.
He's going to get in Varuna's face. Varuna is the lord of the aquatic creatures and the guardian of the lower regions of the universe, where the demons generally reside. There, Hiranyākṣa fell at Varuna's feet like a lowborn man. And to make fun of him, he said with a smile, "Give me battle, O supreme lord. You are the guardian of the entire sphere and ruler of wide fame, having crushed the might of arrogant and conceited warriors, and having conquered all the Daityas and Danavas in the world, you once performed the Rajasuya sacrifice to the Lord." He was saying that Varuna was very, very powerful. Thus mocked by an enemy whose vanity knew no bounds, the worshipful Lord of the waters waxed angry, but by dint of his reason, he managed to curb the anger that had sprung up in him. And he replied, "O dear one, we have now desisted from warfare, having grown too old for combat. You are so skilled in war that I do not see anyone else but the most ancient person, Lord Vishnu, who can give satisfaction in battle to you. Therefore, O chief of the demons, Asuras, approach him, whom even heroes like you mention with praise." Varuna continued, on reaching him. Huh? What do you say?
He's delayed him up. He's saying, "Oh, look, I can't fight you, but he's saying if you really want to fight someone, why don't you go to Lord Vishnu, see what happens then." He's setting him up for his downfall.
Yeah, this happened to me once. Serious.
Really? You got set up for your downfall?
I was in high school. A guy came after me. Big guy.
You said, "Don't fight me. Fight someone else."
No, I said.
Is that what you did?
No, anyway, I won't tell the story. We're ending the show. It's a good story.
Okay,
though.
well, save that for tomorrow. That's for tomorrow.
Okay, remind
Cliffhanger.
me how I got attacked in high school and what I did. Okay. You are so skilled in war that I did not see anyone else but the most ancient person, Lord Vishnu, who can give satisfaction to you in battle. Therefore, chief of the demons, approach him, whom even heroes like you mention with praise. Varuna continued, on reaching him, you will be rid of your pride at once, and you will lie down on the field of battle surrounded by dogs for your eternal sleep. So Varuna's giving him a little lip. It is in order to exterminate wicked fellows like you and to show his grace to the virtuous that the Lord assumes various incarnations like Varaha. That's it. That's the chapter.
Thus ends chapter 17 of the third canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Victory of Hiraṇyākṣa over all the directions of the universe.
Harry Bowl. Mara, you got any takeaways for us today? Something that we can take, embrace, put in our pocket, pull it out when we need it. What do you got?
I got a lot of them today.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. Don't let hate make you hate.
Yeah, good one. Good one. Great one. That is a t-shirt. That is an actual hoodie.
Don't let revenge, resentment, or spite enter your heart.
Cup, mug.
Step back and zoom out. It's just a tiny moment.
Yeah.
We've got karma to burn. I'm responsible for it. I probably deserve much worse. Maybe long for a t-shirt.
Long for a t-shirt. Some people get these back piece tattoos that are like the Declaration of Independence. Ever see that? And people have to like, wait, stand still. I got to read that.
Go right to
We the people.
Go right to seeing the good and extend grace and compassion. Put parameters on the way you think.
Put parameters on the way you think. I like that.
Pain in my life is in my mind. Believe in yourself and move forward.
I get it.
Yeah.
Raise your hand if you like it.
I woke up in love this morning.
I woke up in love.
It's good. And we'll all be severely tested.
Is that it?
Yeah.
We'll all be severely tested. You know, someone also wrote drop the feather or something like that.
Feather drop.
Drop. Feather drop.
Trust
Feather
the
drop.
shaman.
Drop. Thanks, everybody.